Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second stream of Nano. Well, I say second stream of Nano. My second stream of Nano. No, wait, it's my third. All of this word counting has clearly scrambled my brain because I went and joined Bonnie Being Bonnie for a while after my last sprint. And I've been on a lot more sprints as a chatter in the chat. But yeah, this is my third time. Okay, this is my second regularly scheduled nano sprint. Let's go with that. Hi everybody, how are you this morning? How is your word count looking? What are you up to? Have you already started? Oh, hi Kaylee. Yeah, I'm really sorry that that these are at bad times for you, but have a look at Devon Cutting. Have a look at Devon Cutting's playlists, and they should be able to point you at a streamer who is regularly going at your times. Obviously, I'm always here to watch on the replay, but we will. But there are other streamers out there. There are people like Gibby Roseland, like Sako Toomey. Savvy Writes Books does one that's completely on the other end of the day. The Bonnie Being Bonnie, she's great. She does some cool streams. There are lots of people out there doing them. I'm sure you'll find somebody who is streaming at the right time for you. I am hoping eventually to stream more at different times, but it's going to take a little bit of technical know-how because StreamYard will only give me a certain number of hours per month, and I'm not paying them. I mean, great service. No moral objection to paying them. I just don't have any money. I'm not monetized here. There's no money here. I'm a starving postgrad student. So there's a limit to what I can do here. I'm only able to do this because I already bought all my nice equipment for a different project quite some time ago. Anyway, good luck with class. Work well, and see you on the replay. Maybe I'll see you in someone else's stream. I do like to hang out and chat with some other people, and we can hopefully see each other then. Okay, so anybody else in the chat want to say like what you're doing for today? What's your project? What are you up to? How's Nano going for you so far? Mine is going very slowly. Yeah, I mean, more fool me for picking a project that is editing based, because editing just seems to go a lot slower than creating new words. Because now I have to pick the right ones. And if there's anything slower than finding words, it's finding the right ones. But I have made a little bit of progress every day. The counter is ticking up. It is ticking up a lot slower than I'd like it to, but it's still ticking in that direction. So we're good. And hopefully on the stream today, we will get a little bit further with all of us. So I'm going to set our first mini sprint so that we can all have 10 minutes just to like chill a bit, get our feet under us, get drinks ready, get get everything sorted, ready for the day. And then afterwards, we'll have another little chat. And then we can get into the proper, meaty 25-minute sprints. Yeah? Sound good? We're on a 30-second lag. I'm not waiting for you to say anything. Okay. I will see you in 10 minutes. Bye. Hello, and welcome back. I have been productive in a way. I have some contact lenses in, though I had to fight one of them nearly to the death. I have something caffeinated, and I am generally a lot more ready to start my sprints. How are you doing out there in YouTube land? I hope that wherever you are, that whether it is stupid o'clock in the morning in America or some slightly more reasonable time in Europe, that things are okay, that the words are flowing, that your house ain't too noisy, or wherever you might be getting your incognito badge for nanoing where you shouldn't. I hope it's an easy place to write wherever it is. I think we have got to that stage of the morning where the people who really want to be here, but this is just a little bit too late for them, have checked out, and the people for whom this is a little bit too early haven't yet checked in. So I think we should go straight into our first sprint and see how we are fixed at the other end of that. Okay, so let's see if my revised timer finally works. I think it will. I think I got it. Okay. See you in 25 minutes. Hello and welcome back to everybody out there in YouTube land. Oh no, no clock. Me, yes, better, good StreamYard. You may have a biscuit later, though you're a duck. I think ducks prefer grapes. Oh, that's an ancient meme. Maybe some people watching this don't remember the duck. Sorry, early YouTube flashbacks. I might look like I'm 12, but actually, no. I am ancient and forever and terrible. I'm in my 30s. Oh, and we've got a comment. Hello, Bonnie. Hi. It is good to see you again. Just getting my day started. Hey, welcome. I am glad that you chose to start your day with me. I know that I am obnoxious because I haven't been awake for that long. I'm a night owl, and given that I work at home at the moment, I do tend to just like wake up at 11:30 and go, "Oh shit, I've got to stream." Close. So yeah, you're probably not that far ahead of me, but I can be maybe a little bit much sometimes for people who have just woken up at 6 in the morning because they are at a different part of the world, and I'm already like, hey, yeah, sure, it's noon, blah 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 blah, talking in that way that I sometimes do. What are your plans for the day, Bonnie? What's your word goal today, or do you have a story beat that you want to get to? Thought I'd pop in to hit like morning guru starts at 11, so I'll hang out for a few moments. Okay, yeah. 11. What time does morning guru start for me? I think morning guru starts. Well, I'm gonna assume from what you're saying that it starts at the top of the hour. Oh, that's the way to do it, isn't it? That's the way all the American DJs do it. They say, "Oh yeah, at the top of the hour, this is gonna happen," and that way, even if they're broadcasting across time zones, it still works. My dad writes software for radio stations, so I have learned in my time way more about radio than I ever feasibly needed to know. Ahead in Nano, so yay. Oh, well done, Bonnie. I am behind. Yeah, I got some done in the last sprint, but I'm so happy to hear that you're ahead, that you are crunching out those words. I haven't really been looking at my buddies in Nano because every time I do, it's like, oh God, you've already got 10% of it done. What? How? Why? Oh God. How's my stuff going? The thesis, yes, I am very slowly making my way through that and editing. I think I've deleted something like 500 words and written something like 200. Yeah, so far in the last sprint, I was just making my way through a particular paragraph, and then I found a new paper, so I had to read a bit of that and then get the bit for citing using dictation. It's a little bit quicker. Oh, that's a good idea. I've tried dictation. It does not understand my accent. I didn't think my accent was that strong. But then I also have this problem of I am citing scientific papers pretty regularly, and a lot of them have just South American names. And whatever way I'm pronouncing them, I can't get the computer to recognize that I'm attempting to pronounce those names. Also, technical jargon. My papers involve a lot of technical jargon. So it would take me as long to get them to recognize the words. Oh, maybe there's a thought. Um, have you ever used dictation to write anything in the sci-fi or fantasy kind of genres? Because those have a lot of invented words or unusual words. Like, is there a life hack? Names can be tough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, if you know any life hacks for like teaching your dictation to recognize that when I say things like, uh, oh, let me just have a look at my paper. I'll read you a bit. Hayes et al. 1996. Oh, yeah, the formatting of that's tricky. Saw repression as described in psychoanalytic theory. Freud, 1924. Avoidance of death awareness in the framework of existential therapy. Yellow, 1980. And the avoidance of painful or unwanted emotions, recognized by Gestalt therapists Greenberg and Safran, 1989, as all being forms of experiential avoidance distinct in their form or the particular aspect of experience which is avoided, but belonging to the same functionally defined class. Hayes et al. 2004 described thought suppression and dissociation as also being specific forms of EA in a similar way. Yeah. So yeah, that's the level of weird words I'm using. I use Dragon with my Mac. Works pretty good. Had to set it to my voice and flow. Oh yeah, well maybe that's a thing I could work on. Probably not with this project. This is a great topic. Yeah. I think there's a lot of us are trying out. Someone else was talking about writing with dictation before. I know you've mentioned it before as a thing. I think that a lot of people use it. Kibby was saying, have you read about personality or chronological birth order? Uh, that's not something I've ever specifically studied, as in the connection between the two. Personality traits, yeah. Personality trait theory is interesting. It is a lot less solid than a lot of people think. Most of the things that we think of as stable traits tend to move around more than we think, and are actually a lot more situationally dependent than we tend to assume. It's interesting. Fascinating from a writer's point of view, because I think most people have the experience in their life of going into a new situation and finding themselves a different person. Yeah, you see, you've probably found it in your own life that you move to a new town or new job, or enter a new stage in your life, have a kid, and suddenly the things that you thought you knew about yourself aren't actually necessarily as solid as you thought they were. And I think that when we write, sometimes we make the mistake that of trying to make our characters too consistent. People aren't actually like that. There's a bias. It's called the fundamental attribution bias. Sounds like my daily life thoughts. Yeah, thoughts of an author. It's a thing. Yeah. Well, fundamental attribution bias. It is where we, especially with negative things, we tend to over attribute other people's actions to things that are stable and part of them, their character, their personality. So if somebody else is late to work, you're more likely to go, That person's a bit disorganized, or they're a bit lazy, or they don't really care. Whereas if you're late to work, you tend to go, oh, well, it's because the traffic is late and my kids are doing this and da 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 da. It flips if you're depressed. Depressed people tend to, that's why depressed people tend to inappropriately blame themselves, because they cut themselves no slack whatsoever. And they're like, if I have failed at this thing, it is because I am bad at things and terrible. Whereas actually, it was probably more situational. What kind of degree are you working on? It is a doctorate in clinical psychology. Yeah, so I've been staring into this particular abyss for a while. It's very interesting. Feel all of this. Yeah, I think the fundamental attribution bias is something that everybody should know about, because we all do it all the time. But you can kind of question yourself and catch yourself on it and go, oh, no, actually, other people are also dealing with situations. Or if you are depressed and you are down on yourself in that way, you can sort of start to question that and go, wait, I am not accounting for the situation when I'm thinking about myself at the moment. Yeah. This is, I am glad that you find this interesting. I find it fascinating. I mean, I would have to have spent this much of my life, as I said, staring into this particular abyss, and writing about this stuff. It is, people are fascinating in all of their weird and amazing varieties. And I think that theories of personality, actually, personality, really hard to nail down. And a lot of the ones that have escaped into public consciousness, like the MBTI, don't actually have as much evidence behind them as you think. Some things are a lot more stable than others. I mean, our 5-factor, that's a little bit more solid, but even things like conscientiousness, like I score completely differently on that depending on whether I am taking my prescribed medication or not. Does this mean that the medication changes my personality? No, don't think so. It does, however, change my ability to do certain things, which they're using as a proxy for conscientiousness. Being late, being early, being organized, being disorganized, those are things that are affected by lots of things that aren't personality. And I think that, other dimensions are similar. People who are cosmetologists for 20 years have seen a lot of personality. Yeah, I bet you would. Cosmetologist for 20 years, seen a lot of personalities. Yeah. I imagine you see people in a fairly raw state sometimes when you're poking their skin and their faces. People, have a lot of feelings about that. And you probably have people tell you all kinds of things, like in the same way that hairdressers and taxi drivers and barkeeps do. Yeah, we are at 12:59. Hair cutting expert. Yeah, cool. Yeah, people say all sorts of things when they're in the chair. The weird thing about being in my profession is that it sometimes reverses on me. And I'll get into the back of a taxi or I'll go to the barber, and people will start to tell me about their other customers as soon as I tell them what I do, because they're trying to figure out. I mean, people who go into those professions tend to be interested in people, tend to be quite switched on, tend to notice things. So as soon as they have somebody they think knows what's going on, they start asking loads of questions. It's amazing how you see little changes of personality after they change the look. Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is a different haircut, to get a different sort of view on yourself. And if you have a different view on yourself, you have a different view on everything, really. Now, for the avoidance of rabbiting, and because I know you want to go watch your morning guru, I'm gonna go for another sprint now. If you're back when I come back, I will say hi. If not, catch you on the replay. Yeah, the situational thing. It is a whole thing. But yeah, not my area of expertise. Now I gotta say, personality is not it, and there are definitely some things that are a bit more solid, especially once you get into the sort of things that are about how your kind of very early experience affects the assumptions that you make about the world. So don't dismiss it totally on my ramble, but it's definitely something to think about. Okay, we've got more things. Thanks for that. You're very welcome, Bonnie. Stream at 11. Yeah, I will drop in and chat to you, and give you likes and engagement. Hi everyone. Hello Nikki. Good to see you. Very happy to have you on the stream. Environment, if you only knew. Trauma is sadly very, very prevalent. There's a lot of it about. I tend to assume that if I am talking to an audience out there on the internet, I am probably going to talk to some people who have experienced some trauma to some extent, because that's the numbers. There are a lot of bad situations out there in the world. It's very hard to get through life without running into some of them. Anyway, on that mildly depressing but maybe unifying note, I'm gonna pop in a timer, and we're gonna have another go. And we can talk about life, the universe, and everything again in another 25 minutes. Thanks so much for everybody, and thanks Bonnie if you're dropping out before the next stream. It was lovely to have you here. Welcome to Nikki. And I'll do a countdown this time. I very rarely do countdowns. I should do countdowns. 3, 2, 1. Sprint. Hello, welcome back. It's always a bit of a rush to turn off my other music and turn on this so that you can hear me. I'm just gonna get rid of that. There we go, that's better. Okay. So, how did you guys do that sprint? Did you make progress? You see some word counts? I will attempt a word count. Yeah, that is pretty not good. Yeah, so that's 30 words by way of deleting 100. Oh god, I hate editing so much. But, that is in the nature of the beast, unfortunately. I hope that you are finding things are flowing a little bit more. Just finding myself to do the stretches. Yeah. Yeah, so I did write 30 words that sprint. I mean, I wrote significantly more than that and deleted a lot of them, but c'est la guerre. How did you folks do? Did you get anywhere interesting in your story? What story are you working on today? Oh, Nikki says, I'm going through my cousin's edits a little to see if I can gain more words. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar place, sort of going over edits and trying to rewrite stuff. I mean, I don't want to be adding a lot to the word count, but I also don't want to be taking away a lot from the word count. Not that much, anyway. I lost a word. Lol. Yeah, it's all right. Typing does that. Sometimes the words just go missing. Yeah. What's the story you're working on, Nikki? What's it about? I don't think I've actually heard what your current project is. What sort of genre is it? We're doing romance or fantasy or horror, or what are you doing? Because it's nice to know what people are up to. Means I can ask relevant questions sometimes. Also, it's just nice to hear stories. Given mine is just like describing nerd fights between psychologists. Yeah. There's a lot of that about it. Yeah, I think I'm waiting for to hear back because I know there's a quite a long lag on this. Yeah, I think that I'll do one more sprint before we leave. See if we can crack. Well, see if I can crack the paragraph I'm on. And round out the 2 hour mark. Oh, Nikki's back. A fantasy with a little romance trilogy. Oh, that sounds really cool. That's really cool. I'm a big fan of fantasy myself. I think everything's more interesting with a little magic or a little weirdness. I think it allows us to look at things that we might normally have assumptions about and drop those assumptions a little bit because we're not really talking about the thing as we know it in the world today. Also, escapism. Escapism's wonderful. And hey, little romance. I've never been able to write romance. Just, I've not tried a lot, but it's really just I kind of struggle with it. I finding the words to express that is actually, without it sounding weird, is quite difficult for me at least. I find it easier to write almost anything else. So I admire anybody who can describe it in a way that makes people feel rather than what. Claire is an empath with spirit healing abilities who is sent to an academy for gifted teens like her. Oh, that's cool. Then there she and the other teens of the academy get into some trouble with a witch hell-bent on destroying the academy and everyone in it. Oh, that's a really interesting story. Kind of got some kind of X-Men kind of vibes where there's a sort of a coming of age, sort of discovering yourself, learning how to deal with the world and your powers and things and all of those at the same time as, you know, supernatural power shenanigans or superhuman power shenanigans. Yeah, I like it. I think that's cool. I would read that. And you got a kind of a high school romance thing going on there, which is also quite cool. The first flushes of young love can be a great source of drama. Witch and the headmistress of the academy are cousins. Oh, so there's some grudges going on between the adults. That's always an interesting thing with when you're writing about teenagers, because it's that time in your life where you start figuring out that maybe the adults around you don't know everything, and maybe you go the whole hog and go, oh, all these adults are stupid. But certainly when you're a kid, you tend to assume that the adults just know what's going on and are going to fix things. Then you get to be a teenager and you're like, oh, well, you have a whole mess of personal problems that I was unaware of before. Family feuds with witches is an extreme example, but that's what fantasy is good for. The extreme examples of the type. Okay, I'm saying if I keep talking, we're not gonna have time for one more sprint uh, before I go for lunch. So I think we should rock on with that. But feel free to comment, tell me more about your story, because it really does sound really cool, and I'd love to be able to read it when it is finished. Tell me where you're publishing it. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna count down. 3, 2, 1. Sprint. Hey, and welcome back. That was our final sprint for the day. Nikki says, right now, I'm just proving to myself that I can write a trilogy. Yeah, that's fair, but trilogies are tricky. Got a lot of characters to keep a hold of. Got a lot of things to keep straight in your head, and planning that many plot arcs that all tie together nicely. It's that takes some doing, and I wish you the absolute best of luck and good vibes and energy, all of those things. Anyway, as for us today, that is going to be the end of our stream. That doesn't mean I'm done for the day. I'm going to go get lunch, and then I'm going to go to Devin Cutting's playlist, and I'm going to find another streamer to follow. If you want to join me, go check in there and grab the next one going, and I will see you in the chat. But if you just like listening to my voice, you will find a bunch of these back in my channel. I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, so there's a couple of back episodes you can watch, and I will be back here at noon UTC on Thursday, no, Tuesday next week, and Thursday. Yep. Yeah, my brain is turning into mush this time. Okay, that means it's definitely time for a sandwich. So, until I see you again, happy writing. And for those of you in a time zone where it is lunchtime, happy sandwich. See you around.